to talk more of the Darius injury. We'll play the breakdown and all that. But let's pivot, talk a little Guardians, guys. Our Guardian segment today brought to us by Buckeye State Credit Union. If you're unfamiliar with them, let me introduce you to the financial friend you didn't know you needed until right now. Buckeye State Credit Union is a local brand offering a wide range of products from checking accounts to home equity lines of credit and auto loans. They have some of the lowest rates around that are committed to serving Northeast Ohio. The Cleveland location is in Shaker Heights, but they have 5 brick-and-mortar locations across the state. Buckeye State Credit Union is here to help make your life easier. They make banking more convenient, always putting the customer first, so you leave feeling cared for, valued, and respected. Connect, simplify, and adapt. Those are the core values that make Buckeye State Credit Union the right choice for you. For more information, head to buckeyecu.org. Buckeye State Credit Union, your money simplified. So last week, Jason said Daniel Schneemann stunk. And now he comes out and hits a... I said Jason.
No, I said it.
Oh, both said it. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Jason said it also.
And then he goes out, hits a grand slam.
He didn't stink Saturday.
And earlier in the week, I said Bo Naylor stunk, and he got hit home runs 2 days in a row. Hopefully it'll work for Rocchio, because I said yesterday he stinks.
Oh, Rocchio.
He does stink.
His attempt to lay down a bunt yesterday was an absolute embarrassment. And there's no other way to say it. And I was glad during the broadcast, because I was saying the same thing in real time.
Yeah.
Rick Manning was getting into him.
Oh, Rick doesn't pull punches.
No, and Rick was a good bunter. Rick was he was a lefty with speed. He had the art of bunting. He would even, not much, but he could drag bunt if he had to. I'm watching this grown man who's a Major League Baseball player break every single principle of how you lay down a bunt in a big situation. He stabbed at all 3 and fouled all 3 off in a huge spot in the game.
Yeah.
And I just can't understand how these guys can't bunt.
I have never seen a less instinctual shortstop in my life.
What about base runner?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Just in general,
in the field,
in the field,
like as a base runner,
terrible.
He looks
He's
like a little
awful.
leaguer.
Yeah, he has no baseball instincts. This guy,
guys, I think his future with the Guardians is very limited.
And all of a sudden, Gabriel Arias is, we're back high on him.
Okay,
he had been in a little bit of a slump, and then he had, I think, 3 hits. He had 2 hits and 3 hits and 2 ribbies yesterday. So, but
was that not? And they came off a series like that.
By the way,
last 2 series were quintessential guards.
Yes, and by the way, and yesterday they really they've played well now. They've won 5 of 6 since losing that first game against the Twins. I thought they had great at bats yesterday. They worked a lot of counts. The Blue Jays, one of the all-time stupid moves in the bottom of the 8th. They were down 1. They had first and second, nobody out.
Is that the inning where they had 3 walks?
No, they got it.
No. When they were
that was against Gaddis.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So against Gaddis.
Yeah. I know where you're going.
The Blue Jays had first and second, nobody out.
Yep.
And they put down a sack bunt, which I hate.
Great bunt.
It was a great bunt. But I hate that.
Yeah.
Especially because who's the next batter?
Yeah.
Miles Straw.
Yeah.
How do you sack bunt for Miles Straw? That makes no sense.
Miles Straw is not Miles Straw from last year. What's Miles Straw hitting? 300?
I don't know what he's hitting. That guy can't hit.
Hitting?
It's going to
HGH. That's what he's hitting.
I'm careful.
Jake, he's hitting 269,
I'm joking.
1 home run.
What is he hitting?
269, 1 home run, 3 RBIs.
Yeah, and he doesn't
play that much. He came into the series with over 300
average. But he doesn't play that much.
No, I know.
But here's the thing, you can't.
And he did what we knew he was going to do.
Yeah.
First pitch, swinging, pop up.
Right? If you need a sacrifice fly, that's the last guy I want. And why are the Blue Jays? I don't understand. Anyway, that was stupid. I didn't understand.
I agree. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Why not pinch hit for him if you're going to do that?
I like the idea to bunt.
But if you're going to do it, then pinch hit for Straw.
Well, what was the score at that time?
It was a 1-run game.
Okay, so you get the go-ahead run in scoring position.
I understand that, but I don't give up outs except certain circumstances. I don't want to give up an out for Miles Straw, who's probably not going to get a hit. So
yeah.
I would have pinch hit for Straw,
1,000%. I don't know what they had available.
Yeah,
but I would pinch hit for Miles Straw.
They should have, but the good thing,
he made a nice catch in the series.
Yeah, he's always been a good fielder.
Yeah.
The thing with the Guardians that you got to feel good about, because it's very bizarre. I mean, they have the 3rd best record in the American League. Only Detroit and Seattle have a better record. Yet their run differential is 4th worst in the American League. Now, a lot of that is
they're winning a lot of 1-run games.
Those 2 10-run games they got smoked by. But they're only 1 better than the White Sox in run differential, and yet they're 10 games ahead of the White Sox in the standings.
That's crazy.
But it's been the bullpen, right? Their four core guys are been great. Even Clase seems to be back on track. I know he gave up a run yesterday. It was an unearned run because he made
was
the
his
error.
error, yeah.
Although that 2-2 pitch should have been strike three.
What was wrong with that?
I don't know. That whole plate umpire had a rough
It wasn't even
game.
on the line. It was in the box.
Yeah. What I liked about Clase, guys, that I've seen the last couple of times he's been out there, is the ball's not going right down the middle anymore.
Yeah, I know. He's working.
He's
the
working
edges.
the corners better. I think that's been huge. I saw a fascinating sidebar for a second. I saw a fascinating video of this girl softball pitcher. I don't know what college she pitches for. And she was warming up with a stack of bricks in front of the middle of home plate.
Bo,
wow.
Montana Fouts from Alabama. It's a few years old.
Is that her? Oh, it's old?
It's a few years old, but yeah, Montana
Mikey.
Fouts.
You know her
Nice
name?
job.
She, when I was covering A&M, she was
Yeah.
the best pitcher in
Dude,
base.
and this
softball.
was awesome.
Wow.
She had a stack of bricks in the middle, and then a stack of bricks
On the
off-
outside,
Yeah.
which would- yeah.
So she had to throw it in between,
Hitting the alley.
Which that's what she wore. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So anyway, that was good. But I thought
How
Clase,
often was she hitting the bricks?
in the video I saw, she didn't hit him once.
It was edited.
Oh, it was okay.
That's
so
still
fine.
impressive, though.
But it's,
I got the video right here. I'll pull it up.
okay.
You're wrecking softballs, though. Like, those softballs are probably not very good after you throw them into a brick wall.
Yeah, probably not to get scraped up against the brick.
That's a great drill, though. I
But
like
yeah, I mean, I don't know what Clase did, but he seems to be rounding into form. And right now, like, Gaddis has been fantastic. Got himself in and out of trouble in that 8th inning. Obviously, we know Kate Smith's been fantastic. And Tim Herron, who a little like Clase, was a little shaky earlier in the season, seems to be back on track. And after Bybee, I always want to say Bieber, left with the cramps.
Yeah. In
cramps,
both
right?
legs,
Cramps.
yeah.
Yeah.
That boy needs to drink more Gatorade during his outings.
Eat a banana.
But like
Eat a banana, drink
4
some
innings,
Gatorade.
boom. That was the formula last year, and it worked yesterday. And
Yeah.
they need that bullpen to carry him right now because the starting pitching's been shaky
So,
and the lineup's been shaky.
I'm wondering what you
Real
guys
quick,
think
here's
of
the
that.
video.
Oh, go
So
ahead.
you can take it full real quick. But, Bo, this is the one you're referring to, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
oh,
so
it's not
this-
bricks on the outside.
Oh,
It's
they're
batters.
hitters.
Yeah.
This from 2019. But
Okay.
premise is the same. Pretty cool.
Those are cinder blocks down the middle, looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's smart.
Really cool.
Keeping it off the middle of the plate.
She won whatever the college pitch of the year was 3 years in a row.
Oh, yeah?
That's the only reason I know who she
The
is.
softball Cy Young?
Yeah.
I think that's what they call it.
Speaking of which, real quick sidebar off of this. Have you guys seen what Caitlin Clark looks like right now?
No.
She's jacked.
Oh, my God.
She hit the weight room?
Oh, yeah.
They were playing Brazil in like a exhibition game,
Preseason
whatever
game.
yesterday, and they showed her like she was like this, and her arm is huge, not
Jeez.
huge like abnormally huge,
Right.
but like she looks like she gained 10 pounds of muscle,
Wow.
and she took. Did you see that 3-point shot she hit, Mike, from almost half court?
That's the same one she hit to break like the college scoring record.
Yeah,
They played it
anyway,
in.
I've
in the
sidebarred a
Iowa
lot, but
gym.
getting back to the
Yeah.
Guardians.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Is the way the Guardians winning, is that sustainable though?
Yeah, that's just what I was going to ask because that
Yeah.
was the question.
Is it actually sustainable?
I think it's sustainable for the regular season, but we know they're not going to win that way in the playoffs.
Bingo.
Never.
That's exactly. You have to hit the ball over the fence. And listen, they have more power than they did 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
But I don't think as much as they had last year.
Until you are a consistent team with consistent threats who can hit the ball out of the park, the way the game is built today, it's sort of like the threes in the NBA. I don't think small ball wins in the playoffs. I remember, man, I wish I could find the stat. We had the stat on home runs in the postseason as it relates to winning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
If you don't
it's
hit-
overwhelming.
Yeah, if you don't hit home runs, you're not going to win.
I just can't see how it translates to playoff baseball. On that note, Bull, and I don't know if you
Yeah.
watch this kind of stuff. I know you're interested in it, Bull. Have you seen the World Series that Apple produced? I think it might have been by MLB Productions, but it's running on Apple Plus.
No. What do you mean? What do you mean?
So
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's essentially a movie for every game of last year's World Series.
Oh no, I've not.
And
seen
it
this.
is among the best sports production I've ever seen.
Really? I haven't even heard of it.
I haven't heard of it.
And,
No.
and because it's on Apple, they have
Yeah.
the full surround sound and the Atmos.
And the 4K,
And it's
yeah.
4K.
Yeah.
And it's all done with first-hand accounts. Like they start by the juxtaposition between Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge.
Right,
like
yeah.
you got these two behemoths, and they're what? They're power hitters, and they talk about how the game has transformed itself into this home run showcase in the playoffs, and we don't
Yeah.
have that. And,
No.
and we don't have the power we had last year with Naylor out of the lineup. We just don't have the power that we had last year.
Yeah, and Manzardo picks up some of it, but if they had Manzardo and Naylor.
Are you at all concerned about Manzardo's swing and miss rate? He had 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, no, only because
his average.
His walk rate is really high.
Walk rate is great.
His average is low, but the game has changed, Jay. You know the average batting average is now
I'd
in
say it's
baseball?
about 260, maybe less.
So would I like to see him? His on base is 325, which is pretty good considering his batting average
Well, it's because he
is
walks so
219.
much.
Right, and
God,
so
Saturday it was just one at bat after another,
I
and some
hear
of
you.
them were bad at bats.
He's a young hitter, and he's gonna. But 8 home runs, 20 ribbies, gets on base.
I take that all day.
I like what I've seen. He's gonna strike out, but I don't think it's a huge issue.
The weird thing with Manzardo, I think I mentioned this last week or the week before. When he was coming up, he was a gap-to-gap guy. He was a contact guy, doubles guy, and maybe he can grow into power, maybe he won't, but he was a high-average doubles guy when they acquired him. And now look at him. He's the exact opposite of that.
Isn't that because the shift in the prioritizing home runs and deprioritizing average and contact?
Well, also, and Zach pointed this out on the Guardian show this morning that we did, early in the season they were throwing him a lot of fastballs and throwing him inside more, and then he was hitting home runs, and now they're nibbling outside, and he's got to readjust to that.
Yeah, he's got to lay off the outside pitch.
Yeah, and
it breaks
tough.
out and low. He's chasing it a lot.
Yeah.
And he's got to lay off that.
As you know, baseball is a game about constantly adjusting. The pitchers adjust to the hitters adjust to the pitchers.
Do you know,
if I
asked you anecdotally his splits, and Mike, if you could you look up Manzardo's splits, lefty versus righty?
Yeah.
To me,
I know in the beginning of the season he was better against lefties.
That's why I went there, Bull.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the year, remember, I think the very first series,
right.
I think he hit a game-winning home run off a lefty.
Yeah.
And in that game, he was like, he almost had the cycle.
Yeah, right.
I think he had the single or the double, the triple, and the homer all off lefties, including the game-winning.
It's night and day this year, Jay.
Okay,
what do you think it is?
So
this is shocking. I'm telling you, in a million years, I would not have guessed this.
So that's why I brought it up.
Yeah.
Anecdotally, to me, lately, it feels like he's down against lefties. But early in the season, I felt like he was pulling a Josh Naylor, and that all of a sudden, he just learned how to hit left-handed pitching.
Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
So against righties, 103 plate appearances, 88 at-bats. Very big difference between the at-bats and the plate appearances, lefty-righty.
As you'd expect.
He's hitting 182 against righties, a 341 slugging, and a 623 OPS against righties.
How many of his home runs are
That's awful.
That's terrible.
He has 4 homers and 10 RBIs against both.
So his homers are split.
And RBIs, dead split 4 and 10.
But his batting average is
against lefties,
way better against lefties.
412, 1.294 slug, 1.816 OPS.
That's okay. That is off the charts. That's one of the best
That's
splits
crazy.
for a lefty-lefty or righty-righty.
His OPS is 3 times better against lefties, which is insane.
Go figure.
Never heard of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's early enough
I was
in
going
the
to say,
season,
let's get more of a sample size. I
Yeah.
just looked up what his strikeout rate was. He's 26% on strikeouts, which is about where he was last year. It's high, but there's guys in the 30s.
Well, where's Nolan Jones? What's his strikeout rate right now?
Or Arias, even though he's playing well.
And real quick, Manzardo's walk rate is 13%, which is a career high, which is
that's
really good.
Yeah, I'd take
that's
that.
really good.
That's what's helping.
By the way, guys,
if he can get the strikeout rate down even 21, 22%, and keep that walk rate
Can I ask
where
both you guys a question?
Yeah.
To me, the quandary of this lineup is the 2-hole. I hated Hosey in it, and I don't want him to go back to it. What about Martinez as the 2-hitter? Before you laugh, think about it.
Yeah.
The whole idea here is to get Hosey and to get Manzo batting with guys in scoring position. And the part of the problem is why they've had to eke out these close games is because they're not. I think.
I mean, they don't have a great option. I'd be fine with him hitting second.
I don't want him ninth. And I know he's kind of a second leadoff guy and he helps Quan, but I'm more concerned about the front half of the lineup getting healthy.
Yeah, I mean.
And too many pitchers are just working around the 2-hole hitter for the Guardians.
I don't know that there's a better choice right now. They get, you're not going to put the catcher there. You're not going to put the right fielder there.
Schneemann!
Schneemann.
Schneemann. No. As I was watching the game yesterday,
I still don't think he's a starter in the majors.
He's going to do a break job after he's done playing. He's got a break job.
But as I was watching the game yesterday, and I'm thinking, okay, the two-hitter is our weakness. It's got to. I mean, the bottom of our lineup is atrocious, but that is what it is. But I'm trying to. I want to get the front half of the lineup healthy. Not that I want to give away innings, but you are already. You're giving away. You're weakening the heart of your lineup with your two-hole right now. I don't know what collectively our number 2 hitter is hitting this year.
Oh, my God.
But it is not good. Nolan Jones cannot. This experiment, for me,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to completely pull ripcord on him. But right now where I stand, I don't know what the answer is. This guy walks to the plate and he looks like Paul Bunyan. And then he swings, and I'm like, what is wrong with this guy?
I can't give up on him. He was so good 2 years ago. He's hitting the ball hard, but
his strikeout rate's 33%.
It's terrible.
And
can't have that.
And his walk rate's 14%.
Okay,
which
now,
is
so
higher than I
and
thought.
he's usually in the
I mean,
two-hole.
at this point, as sad as it is, either Martinez or Schneemann make the most sense in the 2-hole.
I would be fine with
I can't
either one
believe
of
I'm
those
saying
guys.
that.
I
But
can't either. That's why I said I'm going to ask those guys tomorrow. And I know they're going to laugh at me, but it's better than what we have.
By the way, for the last month now, Jose's been terrible.
I know he has. He's been awful.
He has. You remember it was April. The first week of April, he had that game where he had 3 home runs.
He had 4 homers and 13 RBIs after that game, Bull.
Right. He has 1 homer, 2 ribbies, and I believe 4 extra base hits in the last 4 weeks.
Now, part of my theory on that is the guy that's hitting in front of him.
That's part of it, but sure.
I think that's a big part of it.
Right, but he's been. I mean, to have 4 extra base hits in a month.
He's not seeing any fastballs. Guys are throwing him, especially early in counts. He's seeing all soft stuff.
But
and he doesn't kill that stuff.
But Jay, he's often had bad number hitters ahead of him.
He has, but he's also had stretches in his career, particularly early in the season, where he's like, what's going on? And then he'll hit 9 homers in a month.
I hear you. I'm just worried he's hurt. He plays through injuries, which I respect. But
that ankle on Friday night,
that looked bad.
I think it was Friday night.
I know you thought it was a knee at first.
I thought he hyperextended the knee.
Yeah, because it was
a reach, and a lot of times I've done that where you overstretch on that last step, and your knee buckles because all your weight is in the wrong spot.
Right. So the lineup. The problem with the lineup is like, where are you getting other? I mean, they're not going to. Lane Thomas is coming back soon, but he was playing terribly. I think when Lane Thomas comes back, I'd put Lane Thomas in center, move Angel Martinez to second base, Arias to short, and I'd have Rocchio in the minors.
Yeah, Rocchio.
I'm done with that. But
I'm looking at Nolan Jones.
Yeah.
His 23 season, obviously, his great year with the Rockies. He had a 30% strikeout rate then.
No, he's been a high strikeout
13% walk
Yeah,
rate.
But you can live with that if he's hitting home runs.
And the splits were fine. It wasn't like he did it all in Colorado.
I mean, I know people are sick of hearing his StatCast numbers, but his StatCast numbers are still excellent.
I know, but eventually it's got to help you win. You got to get hits.
Naylor went through that a couple years ago.
He's had some bad luck.
No. Josh a couple years ago had awful numbers in April.
Yeah.
And I remember, and that was before I was really looking at this stuff that often, and Zach was like, I think he's going to be fine. Like, his metrics are really good. He just doesn't have anything to show for it.
Right.
I'm still holding out hope that Nolan's the same way, but I mean, it's May what? 4th,
well,
5th?
here's there is help coming. David Fry when? July?
Yeah, but
Around
what's he
then.
going to be like?
He can only DH.
No, I know.
So maybe that's the end of Carlos
That's a stick
Santana.
in the lineup that they desperately need.
Especially against
if
lefties.
Lane Thomas, obviously, remember when they first traded for him last year?
Yeah.
He was horrible.
I expect him
then
to
he got
play well.
hot. I think he'll play well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can get Fry healthy, Martinez can continue to hit at this level. My fear with him is he's got big leagueitis where you come up and you're so excited and you have so much adrenaline that you rake. And then, remember Kevin Moss? And then after that, you're just like, whoa, what happened to this guy?
Yeah.
I hope he can maintain it. His at-bats are good. I love his at-bats. His approach at the plate is fantastic. If he can stay at that level, and Schneemann can just be a guy who can every once in a while have heroic moments like he did Saturday, and then you get Lane Thomas to be Lane Thomas, and David Fry gets back healthy, this is a much different team that I think can compete with Detroit.
Yeah,
and Bieber.
And then, well, that's the thing. Here's the deal with the starting rotation. It's been inconsistent, but the truth is, in my opinion, Logan Allen, Ben Lively, and Luis Ortiz, for the most part, they've done their job. This is about Bybee and Williams. They have to pitch much better.
How many times has Williams given up a first pitch home run this year? In my mind, he's
I
done
don't
it
know,
3
but
times.
he did
it again Saturday.
I think it's more Gavin than Bybee. Bybee's been okay the last couple starts.
Yeah, but okay's not good enough, Jason. They need him to pitch like an ace.
But April was not good.
Logan Allen's got a 4.01 ERA. I can't expect better than that. Ben Lively gave you 6 good innings the other day.
The thing with Bybee, we've always said he's got to get deeper in games. And now he's rolling through 5, and now he's got to leave.
Yeah, right, but he wasn't pitching great. Like that strikeout to walk is terrible.
Yeah, his strikeouts have been down.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, right there.
And Gavin Williams, I mean, I know he only gave him 2 runs, but 12 base runners in 4 innings.
Gavin is the most disappointing to me.
Oh, my God. His ERA's over 5.
I thought this was the year where he may overtake Tanner at the top of the rotation.
Yeah.
And to this point, it just hasn't.
I wonder what's the deal with him. He's so talented. There's so much talent there.
I almost wonder if it's a lack of focus. I feel like he's opened it 2 or 3 times this year where the first hitter of the game takes him deep, and then in most of those he settles in.
Right,
he has
pitches
one bad
really
inning.
well.
Yeah,
and then he gets up to a high pitch count by the 5th inning. We've got some incredibly inefficient pitchers.
Yeah.
Part of that's baseball.
I know, guys.
That's
are
some of
on
it.
pitches.
Sure,
that's true.
That's sure.
That is true.
I wonder if there's sometimes with young pitchers that are that are big strikeout guys. You're worried that they become so enamored with the strikeout that they
forget how to pitch.
Sometimes you got to just pitch to contact and trust your defense. And I know at times the defense has not been great, but generally the Guardians play good defense. Generally,
they haven't this year.
They haven't as
normally
consistently
they're much
this
better.
year, but
I
don't know. But it's frustrating the top of the rotation. But even with all these complaints, they still got the 3rd best record in the American League.
I have made this assessment.
Yeah.
Detroit's for real.
Oh, yeah.
I thought they were for real last year, and I thought they were a real threat to win the division this year. I think Cleveland's going to spend most of this season battling with Detroit.
Well, here's what's happened with Detroit, and Kansas City's not done yet either. They're back on track
Kansas
now.
City still too.
Here's the thing with Detroit. We knew their pitching would be good. It's been it's just been ridiculous.
yes.
Their 2 number 1 picks are playing like number 1 picks.
That's
exactly
the
right.
second thing.
Yeah.
Because their lineup's still not great. It's playing better now, but Torkelson is back to playing like the first pick in the draft.
Yeah.
The guy was sent to the minors last year.
And Casey Mize has been fantastic too.
Job has pitched well. We know what Scooble is.
They've got a nice staff.
And their bullpen, that was my biggest question mark. I was like, because they pitched so great at the end of last year, I'm like, they can't get that. They've been fantastic across the board.
Well.
And you don't even know, could anybody name their closer?
Canley.
Tommy Canley, Will Vest, Bo Brisky.
Their closer last year was in the All-Star game, and now he's in the minors.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right, guys, let's